are witnessing is real. The participants are not actors, they're actual litigants with a basketball take pending in the court of public opinion. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their online judgments and have their disputes settled in front of the Honorable Judge Shea in our forum, NBA Court TV.
All right, all rise. NBA Court is now in session. We've got the Honorable Judge Serrano presiding. This is the case of the second best team in the Western Conference. Arguing for the Houston Rockets, we've got Justin Verrier. Arguing for the Thunder, we've got Micah Peters. Have fun, guys. I can't believe this is the only jersey they had.
Weiss, let's get opening statements. Mr. Verrier.
Listen, I think this is an easy one. The Rockets are the second best team in the Western Conference because they're an actual team. Unlike the Oklahoma City Thunder, built like a video game, I know you millennials like that type of stuff, it really doesn't make any sense. Chris Paul, James Harden, I know two guys who both need the ball, but they have complementary skill sets. And this is a team that was already good, going to be even better with one of the best players ever to play the game with them.
This isn't actually about having two players that, you know, both need the ball. They both need the ball in order to be special. Anyway, am I gonna have to change my opening statements? I mean, video games are fucking dope, and so are the Thunder, because they also have Russell Westbrook, reigning MVP from last season, Carmelo Anthony, and Paul George, and you still have Steven Adams there to corral all the misses. What are we talking about?
I think he got you there. Let's get into some evidence. Mr. Verrier, you got some good evidence for me, sir.
I have paperwork right here that shows math, and math is on the side of the Houston Rockets, a team
Objection,
built on that.
math is fucking boring.
Sustained. Math is quite boring.
I know someone who is caping for Russell Westbrook would definitely make that point, but I have to say that the Rockets, they are not the Golden State Warriors from last year, but their offense almost as good last year, 10th best in the entire NBA history. That's a long time. I know you're only 5 years old, but this spans even longer than that, third best in the millennium. And what they added this offseason only makes them better. They got an actual defense to go with one of the best offenses of all time. They got guys like Chris Paul, best at his position, PJ Tucker, like top 10.
Objection, hearsay, Chris Paul best at his position.
Stats, once again, best in defensive RPM last year. I know that's kind of a made-up stat, but still, he's number one in it, and that's all that I care about.
Made that up? Make up a stat.
What is an RPM?
Make up a stat.
Okay.
But he was last place in what kind of, in what?
Last place in
LGRs.
LGRs?
Last place in LGRs. So.
What is LGRs? Yeah, last place in LGRs.
He was number 2, though, in LAT.
Oh, shit.
The Thunder makes perfect sense. You have Carmelo Anthony, which, yes, he has very poor defensive tendencies. That is an understatement in and of itself.
Poor? I would say worse in the league.
Sustained.
But also, the Thunder are full of like stretchy fours that can play wing defense and everything else, so you don't really need to worry about that. Any combination of Melo, Steven Adams, George can fill the forward slots. If Roberson is not making his backdoor cuts or hitting his quarter threes, and you move PG up to the 2, and then maybe you move Carmelo Anthony to the 3. There's any number of ways that you can move it around, and then Patrick Patterson can step in right behind.
I'm going to object, even though this point that you didn't actually say outright but are alluding to, they don't have any ball movement whatsoever. Russell Westbrook is a ball hog. Paul George, a little bit of a ball hog. Carmelo Anthony, good lord, biggest ball hog in the NBA. How is this offense actually going to work when you have so many isolation players and not actually basketball players working together?
Carmelo Anthony is one of the best Olympic players of all time. If you watch any Olympic Team USA basketball, you see that he can do
Olympics.
Catch and shoot numbers. Movement off of the ball.
Objection, I have no patriotism.
You know, I gotta agree with you there. Young Thug also said, I do not fuck with America, I get it straight off the boat. And I think that that's a worthwhile philosophy to adhere
Houston's
to.
own.
Nope.
He's from Atlanta. Wow.
Atlanta's own.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
We need closing statements because I can't listen to too much more of this guy. Mr. Verrier?
Listen, I don't need the allotment that you're giving me here. The Houston Rockets are an actual team. The Thunder are just the concoction of Sam Presti while he's getting a haircut at Mack Weldon. Like, this team does not make sense whatsoever. The Rockets just got better from what they were last year.
You went over the time. You said I don't need all of the time, but we went over the time. King Micah.
Chris Paul has not advanced past the second round of the playoffs, and I have no reason to believe that that's going to happen this season.
In the case of whether or not the Houston Rockets are the second best team in the league, Mr. Verrier, you brought up some great points that I was not paying that much attention to. King Micah, you as well brought up some other great points that I think made sense, but I'm not certain. But you were the one who correctly identified a Young Thug lyric, whereas you were the one who incorrectly identified where he was from. So we will rule in favor of King Micah. The Thunder are the second best team in the league this year.